Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Good warm afternoon from the beautiful city of Abuja. It is my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Money Radio on Leadership Podcast. This is the tourism segment of the program, and we warmly welcome you. Today, we are discussing an important issue, and that is infrastructure that facilitates development of tourism in Nigeria. I'm your host, Case Hammond, and joining me will be a guest who I can assure you is an expert in the industry, and his name is Mark Moore. Mark Moore is the CEO of Motley Travels Logistics Limited. When it comes to this man, I can assure you, in my opinion, he deserves having a consultancy position with the federal government. Yeah, very, very great man, very knowledgeable in the industry. So, Mark, you're welcome.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you again. It's always my pleasure. Because,
Same here. Same here.
Around, our listeners are thrilled. Yeah, so you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, as you are aware, we are discussing infrastructure that facilitates development of tourism in Nigeria, and we want to discuss that issue. So, we're talking about infrastructure and tourism. Can you link it for us?
Yeah, of course, tourism thrives on infrastructure, and of course, because there are a lot of components that work together to make tourism possible. And one of such are basically access roads, security, access to, culture, food, the lifestyle of the people, and all of that. So these and many more are the components of the infrastructure that make tourism worth the while and make tourism tick in Nigeria.
Mark, you are part and parcel of this industry. How has that affected your running of your business personally?
Yeah, I would say it has, in a way, it has affected business, no doubt. But you see, I'm not one person to dwell on the problems and not try to carve a way out and try to bring a solution. We agree that the infrastructure in Nigeria for tourism is really not there, non-existent, so to put, because there's a whole lot of abandonment, and people have to go on holidays. Prior to the COVID era, people had options. A lot of movement and all of that, but it became worse with the coming of the COVID that and other security and safety related issues that became a concern for people, that made them not to be willing or not to be able to partake in tourism activities. So you see people not wanting to travel by road, because of the situation of the road, and again because of the safety issues that are paramount on the road. So these are the things that make it almost very difficult for people to carry out holiday or vacation activities. But like I said, I'm not one to dwell on that. Rather, is to find a way out of this situation and see how people can still get to have a great time despite the challenges we have. So it's a great deal of talking, it's a great deal of stabbing on the social space, because you have to make people understand, enlighten them. And some people they don't even want to hear anything. They just come to your page and they just want to discourage other people from patronizing and buying tour packages within Nigeria. So it's a great deal of effort, but hopefully with more effort from government, curbing the insecurity issues and attending to the different dissenting voices around the country, things will get better and people will be able to move more freely for tourism-related activities. Are you with me? Oh. Yes, Simon, are you there? Are you there?
Good afternoon again. We sincerely apologize for the break in transmission. There was a technical issue which has been sorted out by our technicians. We sincerely apologize. This is Money Radio, and you are on to the tourism segment of the program. And this is Leadership Podcast, broadcasting from a warm Abuja. And I'm your host, Case Hammond. We have a guest today, a regular face, and one that is part and parcel of the industry, the tourism industry in Nigeria. His name is Mark Moore, and Mark is the CEO of Motley Travels and Logistics. Mark, you're welcome, and we apologize to you also for that break. So we were talking about tourism, infrastructure development that can facilitate tourism in Nigeria, and you gave us that link between tourism and infrastructure development. And I was asking you, as a partaker, as a participant, a person who is part and parcel of the industry, how has that personally affected your business?
Yeah, it has, like I tried to say earlier, it has greatly impacted on business, because you have a lot of people who are putting into the front burner the situation of the condition of the road, the safety and security situation around the country, and of course the facilities at this destination itself. Those have now become issues in the front burner that is making people, to kind of back down or reconsider their vacation experience in Nigeria. So, I mean, it's been a huge task. It's been a lot of back and forth with clients who have, indicated interest in vacationing, but at some point or the other, you see them talking about the condition of the road and all of that. So in terms of that impact, there's a whole lot of it for the business. But then we don't dwell on the problems, because the idea behind it, everything we do, is the fact that we recognize that there are problems, there are issues with infrastructures and all of that. How do we make it happen despite the challenges? How do we still give the people a memorable experience? So on a scale of 1 to 10, I will say 6. It has greatly impacted on tourism business in recent times.
Mark, I share the thoughts you are giving because I remember sometime 4 or 5 years ago, I was on this road between Lagos and Badagry. That road, I don't know the condition right now, but it was a terrible road. And I saw a bus load of tourists, in that bus. They were heading toward that Badagry side. And at a time, they became so frustrated. From my vehicle, of course, we were stuck together at a very serious hold up, and it was because of the bad road. And at the time, they started making fun of the issue, but you could see the frustration also in their faces. So I share the thought you are having, that tourism actually does have a serious impact on the roof construction, road infrastructure.
Yeah.
Really have a serious impact on tourism in the country. But there are some other factors. Let's look at hospitals. Of course, when people go, for example, hiking, you have problems like that where you need hospitals. Some other structures. Does insurance does insurance come into this business also? And do you name that as part of the structure or infrastructure that needs to be put in place to have smooth tourist attraction or tourist activities?
Yeah, you see, tourism is all encompassing. I will speak from our own point of view, from the activities we carried out. You see, there are different experiences that people go for. When you talk about hiking, I mean, I don't see why any operator should put up a hiking adventure and not include a first aid kit, for example, because somebody gets injured. The first thing is the first aid treatment before you even talk about moving the person to the hospital, depending on the degree of injury or whatever it is. And to forestall all of this, because you don't want to get distracted in between, insurance is a must. Whether it's hiking or normal vacation, insurance is a must. All our trips, for example, are covered by insurance. So at any instance, it doesn't stop us from the first aid kit. It doesn't stop us from getting treatment out. But then insurance takes care of everything that needs to be taken care of if anything ever happens. So insurance is a must when you are having adventure, not necessarily hiking alone, but whatever it is, as long as the people involved are going to be moving from point A to point B, then they need to be covered, because anything could happen at any point in time. Nobody prays or nobody plans for these things to happen, but they do happen. And when they happen, you better be ready to take care of it and deal with it as it comes.
Like you said, these things, we don't pray for them to happen, but they do happen, and they happen just virtually everywhere. The constancy of such things happening may be less in other climes, but they do happen in places, for example, or we have the situation here whereby kidnapping has become rife. Are there insurance companies that cover, for example, trips when it comes to the issue of kidnapping and all of that?
Every insurance has its own terms that it covers, but I doubt much. If there's anything like that, except they're going to create a package like that because it's what is becoming rampant. But then it's not a normal situation. It's an aberration, so to put, in terms of the kidnappings that happen. So you might not get an insurance package to take care of kidnapping because nobody knows what the kidnappers are going to demand for ransom. But basically, it's all about injury, death, and all of that. But you see, the kidnapping thing that happens is something that really discourages road travels, because people rather stay back in their homes than be on the road and run into trouble or get kidnapped and all of that. And that is why as a tour operator, we must constantly be updated and see how we navigate with these everyday challenges that rears its head. For example, you're going on a trip with a group of persons and all of that. There are certain information you don't give out until the last minute. Otherwise, you get people who, it's just like people, you want to go for a vacation. Maybe 100 people signify interest. 2 weeks to the time, the number drops to 50. A week to the time, it drops to like 30. 3 days or 4 days to the time, it drops to 10. You understand? So there's certain information you must hold back until the final people figure who are going to go on a trip. But if you keep giving out certain security information and all of that, you don't know who just came into your portal to just get information and carry out anything. So as tour operators, we need to be constantly updated and constantly strategize and get means to see that we are able to navigate these challenges as it comes. So in terms of insurance and kidnapping, I am not aware yet of any insurance cover that has to do with kidnapping. Rather, I know of death, injury, and all that. Yeah.
Nice one. So, Mark, just last week we were discussing on this show some beautiful cities that worth the attention, that could clearly be a good alternative to cities outside, maybe cities outside of Nigeria, maybe African countries or maybe Western or Eastern countries. We're just discussing some of those cities that are worth trying for tourism. They may just be vacationing, they be sightseeing. What are some of those cities, or which are some of those cities that you would recommend people visit for a regular good time as an alternative to a costlier vacation trip in somewhere in the West, Europe or America?
Yeah. Good as it sounds. There are a couple of African countries that people can actually take vacation. You have Kenya, you have Rwanda, you have Benin Republic nearby us here. You have Cote d'Ivoire and a lot of other places. And most of these countries have beautiful destinations, beautiful resorts, beautiful beaches. I mean, it's worth the time for any tourist to just dash out there and see what's happening out there. But the interesting thing is, these other countries, they thrive on tourism. That is why they've been able to develop, and attract foreign tourists to their countries. Nigeria is yet to take tourism serious or as a serious business. And that is why you can afford to abandon the Lagos-Badagry road for donkey years. Politicians come in and out. They don't do nothing about the road. Travelers get stuck in traffic. a trip that is supposed to take you an hour or 40 minutes, you end up taking 3 hours, 4 hours. You end up spending your day on the tour, on the bus, on the road. And God helping, anything goes wrong with the vehicle, the AC is not working, you're sweating. So, I mean, the trip becomes ruined. That is the scenario we have here. I mean, if we don't say these things out, the government of the day or each government that is in power at any point in time would not deem it necessary because they are busy chasing other irrelevant things that may be relevant to them, but are not relevant to the people who have a life to live in the country. I mean, I don't want to get boxed up in the 4 walls of my house Monday to Friday and or on the first of the month to the end of the month, and I just want to step out, but I cannot step out because there's so much vices out there that is discouraging me, and the government is not, it doesn't seem to be taking it serious because the next election is usually closer, you know, to the last one than having to deal with infrastructure that will better the life of the citizens and make people, you know, live quality and standard life and enjoy themselves. So these other countries we talk about are fantastic. They thrive on tourism. They've been able to build their infrastructures and all of that. And that is why they have tourists flowing in. Ghana has brought in something, and the year of the return, it has become an annual thing. You see people trooping from the West, you know, from the Americas and all of that, coming into Ghana, you know, to trace their roots and other stuff like that. Whatever has happened to Nigeria, the challenges, the problems are so enormous that we make things difficult for ourselves to encourage people to even visit. Let us start with a visa. How does it takes, it's almost like having to pass a thread through the eye of a needle, you know, easier that way than for people to readily get a tourist visa from outside Nigeria to visit. We've had constantly, because we also deal with inbound tourists, we've had constant complaints from these tourists. It is difficult for them to get Nigerian visa. We've had instances where some jump on, you know, they hop and they think, okay, it's visa, and they could do a visa on arrival. They've been had to be turned back because they cannot get it. So if the people are not, you know, if you make your country inaccessible, you know, to tourists, then how do you want to attract, you know, the foreign exchange? You know, how do you hope to grow the economy? How do you hope to grow the GDP? How do you want tourism to contribute if the basic necessities are not put in place? So this is a serious call on the government. The other countries that are not even up to Nigeria are doing far better, you know, diversifying, building tourism and growing their GDP by improving on tourism. We are still nowhere. The efforts you are seeing in Nigerian tourism today are basically carried out by private individuals who are just doing their bit. The government needs to come on board and do more. Road access is very, very important. For example, the Christmas that is coming, we've had people book for vacations and all of that, but at some point, some have said, okay, no, look at it. Obudu, for example, I can't do road trip. Of course, things are happening because the least duration you can have to get to Obudu is 5 hours, and that will be from Enugu Airport. Obudu has an airstrip. Whatever is wrong, why can't that airstrip be functional? Why must it be comatose? You know, these are the things we are talking about. If those things are functional, there are smaller low-cost carriers that can bring in either via ACMI, you know, run guaranteed departures into these places. Give access, if the roads are not passable, give access for smaller aircraft to fly into Obudu, for example, and people can go back and forth and enjoy themselves. But no, that is not the case. We are busy with politics. We're busy with those things that keep dragging us back and not those things that make us improve as a people. Rather, our people are more comfortable, you know, dusting their passport and jetting out to Accra, jetting out to Kenya and other African countries, or even to the West and Europe, you know, to have a great time. So there's so much that needs to be done. Infrastructure in Nigeria for tourism really, really is problematic. And the government needs to really come out and help those who are trying to push the narrative of Nigerian tourism to do better by creating access road at least. Once there's a good road network and all of that, it reduces some of the problems. You know, you can, of course, security challenge is everywhere. It's not a cast in stone for Nigeria. But you see, the thing is, in Nigeria, we like to blow the negative narratives. Other countries, they pipe theirs low, but you'll be shocked that there are other Western countries who record much more security challenges than we do in Nigeria. But you don't hear anything about that. Rather, you hear about the good things that's happening there. So there's a whole lot of things that has to be done by ourselves, by changing our narratives, and by government helping to see that, you know, the infrastructure that will aid the tourism sector in Nigeria are developed or are seen to be developed to improve, you know, patronage and all of that in the nearest future.
You make some beautiful points there. One of them is the difficulty in getting a visa to Nigeria. I've heard so many people complain about that. Getting a visa to Nigeria is one of the most difficult things to do among African countries. And Nigeria is very difficult. So I feel your pain there. But one last question just before we go. One last question. What about us local tourists? Where can we go in Nigeria and enjoy ourselves? I'm not talking about sites, I'm talking about states. States. Where can we go in Nigeria and enjoy ourselves? Do you have any?
Yes, of course. Nigeria is blessed. Nigeria is blessed with vast destinations. You'll be surprised that every state in Nigeria has its unique tourist destination. There is nowhere, name it. You want to go to Ekiti State, you have Ikogosi Warm Spring. You have the region Fish River there. You want to go to Ogun State, you want to look at Olumo Rock. You want to look at the Kuti Heritage Museum. You want to look at the Alakes Palace. You want to look at the Adire Market and all of that. Or you want to go to Lagos, the beautiful beaches in Lagos and all of that. Or the Slave History Museum in Badagry. You know, or you want to come to the eastern part of the country. Look at the Eziagu waterfall. Look at the caves. I mean, there's so much everywhere. Every state is blessed. But you see, the hindrance we have is that tourism. There's a Supreme Court judgment, you know, that gave tourism powers to the states to control tourism assets. You know, it took it out of the federal government. So basically, it behoves on each state to identify and promote what they have. But I bet you, the Nigeria we have today, most state governments are rather focused on going cap in hand to Abuja to collect allocations rather than look inward and see how they can develop this vast natural asset domiciled in their state to earn revenue. We need to be able to know that governance has a lot to do with continuity. Develop these things, even if your term in office does not finish it, the incoming government will do it. So that is the only way we can get these things done. Okay, so states like Ekiti, Ondo, you have the Dore Hills in Ondo. In Osun State, you have the Olumiri Waterfall, you have the Osun Osogbo Groove, and you have your New Officers Palace and all of that. So different, or you want to go to Edo State, you have your Komu National Park, you have your Oba of Benin Palace, you have the Palazzo that is being run, managed, and owned by the late Sir Victor Uwaifo. So wherever it is, just name the state. I'll be able to mention one or two destinations that are available in Nigeria. But sadly, nobody is talking about them. I only hope and pray and wish that platforms like these are able to promote these destinations in Nigeria so that people get to know them, you know, individually. You take one at a time, look at all it takes, promote it to people, and of course, people get to know, because we don't have the budget to push these narratives. We don't have the budget to market these things. The government does, the media does, and we need to come together and work in sync to get these things out for people to travel locally within Nigeria.
Well said, Mark. Well said. That's how we want to close today's edition of Money Radio. It's been nice having you as usual, Mark Moore.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Monthly Travels and Logistics Limited. Thanks for having you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to our able technicians, although we had this little problem, but they were able to solve it. Thanks to the technicians, our producers. We say thanks most to you who are our listeners and our loyal followers. Please stay with us until tomorrow again. We come with another edition of Money Radio, and that will be on energy. Until then, next week, Thursday, when we come with another edition of this tourism program, we say have a nice day. COVID-19 is real. Stay safe and stay blessed. Love you all.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.